there's nothing like watching two conservatives go at it with each other. And bizarrely, when that happens, one of them ends up sounding like a liberal, which can be a little shocking and disingenuous for those of us truly on the left. But in these times where we can find such little common ground, I think it's worth taking the win and pointing out that even a broken clock is right twice a day. So don't give them too much credit. But we just saw a case like this with conservative commentator and Sirius XM radio host Michael Smirkonish, who has recently been showering Trump with praise, mixed in with the occasional criticism of our dear dictator in chief. But Michael just had MAGA loyalist Nancy Mace on his radio show. Nancy is a current congresswoman from South Carolina and also a candidate for governor in the Palmetto State. And let me tell you, things got a little testy between the two of them. In other words, it turned into a full-on shouting match, and Mace eventually took her toys and went home as she hung up on the call-in radio interview. It's fun. So hit subscribe to Really American Media, because it's that rare time of the day where the Smirkonish clock is right, and Nancy Mace just got her clock cleaned.
There's one more subject that I need to ask of Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Joe Ellis is a name that I'd love you to be familiar with. Joe Ellis was the editor of my newsletter. I have a daily newsletter. It is my passion project. Joe's a wonderful person who for 16 years has served in the Virginia National Guard, helicopter pilot, Black Hawk helicopter pilot, machine gunner, Iraq service. Recently, like many others, drummed out of the military because Joe has transitioned. And I know Joe to be such a patriot who has invested all that time on behalf of, now I will say, her government. Why shouldn't she be able to continue to serve?
And that pause right there is because Nancy Mace just had a stroke hearing that a MAGA-friendly host was actually pushing back on her bigotry. But the doctors apparently zapped her back to life, and she came out swinging.
He is not a she. I'm gonna tell you right now, Michael. I'm a woman. I have cleared many hurdles over the 47 years of my life, and I'm not gonna sit here and allow some man to be called a woman when he is not. Men cannot become women. That is not a thing physiologically. That is not biology. That is not science.
Okay, stop right there. Nancy, who is definitely not a scientist, just said that it's not possible for a man to become a woman because it's not physiology or science. Oh, really? Let's hear what a guy with an actual degree in science has to say on the topic.
One famous example is this lion. We all know that lions look like this, thanks to Disney's recent documentary, Lion King. Males grow manes, while females remain sleek. They drink water all seductive like. What is happening? Mamoreri lives in Botswana, and though this lion has a mane, she ain't a lion. She's a lioness with the gender expression of a male lion. And it's pretty intense. She's roaring, she's mounting other lionesses. Yeah, a lion's mane is normally used to attract females, like homeless chic for some humans right now. So this gender expression doesn't actually match sex. It's rare and interesting in lion behavior, but not singular. It does happen. Why? No one actually knows, but they think it has to do with an excess of testosterone in her body. Clownfish are a common aquatic example of transgender animals, but they don't just change expression, they also are able to spawn and carry offspring because they change sex.
All right, so now that we've established that Nancy Mace is completely wrong and that science and physiology does support living creatures shifting from one gender to the other, not that MAGA types will ever believe in science, let's get back to the conservative catfight.
I thought that you would have more respect and regard for someone who risked their life for 16 years. A Black Hawk helicopter pilot, machine gunner, who put his, then her, life on the line for her country. I thought that Nancy Mace, coming out of the Citadel, would say, well, that's a really interesting case. And you know what? That's a person who we ought to figure out a way that they can continue to serve. You get the final word, and then I'll say so long.
Who've served, who put on the uniform, who risked
but not
their
Joe
life.
Ellis.
But I am not someone who is clearly now mentally ill after their service. Men are not women. They can't become women, and women have so many more achievements ahead of us that have not happened yet. I'm not going to allow some guy who is mentally ill to take those achievements away from my daughter or yours.
Yeah, this is such a common conservative talking point, that the others are trying to take something away from you. Yet most trans people, they're just trying to live their lives, come to grips with something inside of them that just doesn't feel right. So back off. I have yet to see any of them try to take something away from the women's rights movement or diminish their struggles. If anything, a trans person has put up with way more abuse from society than any man or woman ever has, since a trans person can relate to both sides of that. In other words, they're an advocate for the maligned, not a detractor.
You mentioned your daughter, so let me just offer you this final thought, because I'm a father of 4 myself. Mine are older than yours. What most concerns me in the conversation and in the dialogue and the way you express it, and I'm trying to maintain my own civility, I'm so worried about kids who are trying to sort out their lives and are confused as to gender identity. And I want them protected. I don't want them subject to self-harm. And when Nancy Mace says, uses words like gross and they're all mentally ill and so forth, I'm worried about the kid who's gonna not feel welcome and harm themselves. And that's my chief priority.
Yeah, score another point for Smirkonish because he is spot on to bring this up. A 2023 meta-analysis found the lifetime prevalence of suicide attempts in the transgender community is about 30% compared to roughly 10% in the general population. That would be roughly triple the rate.
Now you're saying kids are to commit suicide because of what I say. That is so egregious, Michael. Maybe I don't come back on.
The lack of self-awareness here is staggering. This is an elected official who refuses to choose her words carefully and is so offended over the inference that she could be doing harm that she's now burning a MAGA-friendly bridge and threatening to not go back on his show. Don't go doing any of us any favors now.
I just have to say my fairness is being tested because it's Congresswoman Nancy Mace, and I want you to have the
suicide because of what I say, and that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I did not say that, but it's part of a climate of hostility.
You were inferring.
No, Nancy, I'll say it to you directly. You're part of a climate of hostility that I think is going to cause these kids to really question themselves in a way that's not.
Rape victims want privacy in the bathroom, then call me hostile all day.
Okay, you're hostile all day long. And she just slipped in another anti-trans talking point. What does standing up for rape victims have to do with any of this? I am so sick of MAGA painting trans people as predators. There is no evidence to support that claim. However, I can show you multiple cases from just this year of MAGA types harming women and children, but Mace doesn't claim that all Republicans are dangerous. And I also hate the claim that if a trans woman is in the bathroom with you, that you won't have any privacy. Listen, if somebody is standing in the stall next to you, just staring at you, regardless of your gender, that is weird and wrong, and it's not going to happen, so calm the fuck down. If a man wants to assault you in a bathroom, he's not going to let the female-only bathroom sign stop him.
It's sad. By the way, I didn't call you hostile, but you are contributing to a hostile environment.
Like you guys,
Nancy, I'm not on the left. I'm not on the left. I'm not on the left. You don't know any.
And you're being disrespectful.
I'm not.
To female guests on your program.
Nancy. I'm a gun owner who's for the death penalty, who's represented cops as a lawyer. You don't know anything. Listen, one last thought. I promise.
BB gun? You sound like you're low-T BB gun owner is what you sound like.
Wow. And now Nancy is so concerned about gender equality that she resorts to male-bashing stereotypes by saying that Michael is low testosterone and owns a BB gun, not a real man's gun. Hey, Nancy, fun fact. The trans women that you're so afraid of are also low on testosterone. So by your logic, that makes them weak and they would be no threat to you. But now, Smirkonish makes a point that really sets Nancy off.
Nancy, listen. As between the two of us on this issue, I'm the real conservative. I'm the Barry Goldwater, stay out of my bedroom, live and let live. Mine, which respects individual liberties, is
you're advocating for men in my bedroom. Think
about what I just said. I'm the real conservative on this issue between us.
Oh no, you didn't. He questioned her identity as a conservative, and having somebody question her identity, that really set her off. Do you think she sees the irony there?
Okay, you'll be invited back, and I hope you'll consider that invitation. All right.
To be more respectful to your female guests.
Nancy, nobody's more respectful than me. I let you say everything you wanted to say. I mean, come on. We've been on the.
While I did it, it's great, Michael. I'm sure it'll be great for your ratings.
All right. Nancy, thank you. Thank you. Oh, and she hung up. Just for the record, she hung up.
And there you have it. Nancy Mace hung up because MAGA hates to defend their hate. And kudos to Michael Smirkonish, although I kind of questioned if he would be such a trans advocate if he didn't have a friend who is trans. It is so common that conservatives hate on a group until they realize that they know one. Better late than never, I guess. All right, please like this video, comment below with your thoughts on all of this, and get vocal. From the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve podcast, I'm Steve Harness for Really American Media.